Good morning, I'm Pilar.
I'm Bárbara.
I'm Sophia.
Here we are today in the second UmbrellaCast of this year, and this is the first UmbrellaCast that it's in English. And today we're going to interview Guenia Lemos. So we're gonna get to know a bit more about her. So we can go already with the questions.
Guenia, can you talk a bit about yourself and how you started your career?
Hi guys. Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me. It's an honor. Thank you, everyone. I don't need to be this close to the mic, right? I can sit back, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry.
Well, how did I start my career? I was born in the United States, and then I came to Brazil. And as I was growing up in Brazil, I remember that I had this one math teacher that actually got me interested in theater. And go figure, like a math teacher, right? But she was really into it, and she got all the kids motivated to do this this production of Senhor Ratão e Dona Baratinha, I believe was the name of the play. So we all got together, the kids that were interested in theater, and we did the small production, in the backyards of the school. At Positivo, and that's where, like, I think the spark of my interest in theater came about. And then from there on, I started doing theater classes. I did at Sesc da Esquina. I studied at Positivo. They had a theater group. And then the interesting part was that my sister was a photographer, and she used to use me as a guinea pig all the time.
Oh my God.
Like, literally, she would put, she would like use me as like her model for a number of different kind of shots that she wanted to do. She was very artistic in that way, and she was really into cinema. So I got in front of the camera through her a lot. And then it just kind of progressed, with theater, and then like the modeling came about, and then with the modeling that I did, because I was acting before that, I used to get like a bunch of like commercials and stuff like that. So it just kind of progressed in that way. And I eventually, after doing my modeling career, I went to New York to study, because I was born in the United States, so I had that, easy access to study in the United States. I had the citizenship, and I really wanted to like study in the most interesting city in the world, which was New York at the time, and still is, kind of is.
Yeah.
But so I went there, I studied, and then I started my career in the United States. I did soap operas, I did theater. So everything got started over there. But then I eventually came back to Brazil when I was pregnant with my first child, because I was married to an American guy. I was American myself. And because I wanted both my kids to have the Brazilian citizenship as well as the American citizenship, we moved over here to have our girls be born in Brazil. And then, the plan was to come here for 2 years, but I have stayed here for like 15. So things got a little derailed, but, no complaints.
That's nice.
That's cool. How many movies have you worked with? What was your favorite one to work with? What's your favorite movie, Jenna?
My favorite movie genre.
Oh, yes.
Okay, well, I don't know that I have the answer to how many movies I've made, because, the way you start in acting is you start doing a lot of student projects, and then you get into short films, and then eventually you get into like bigger budget movies. I can, and I also, like, throughout this whole cinema career, I've also been like in and out of theater a lot. So like, if you look at all the productions I've done, perhaps it's around, and also look, because I'm not only an actress, I should have said that before. I'm not only an actress, but I also do set designs, like a scenographer, right? And I also recently got into directing and writing. So if I count all of those things together in terms of production for the cinema and for theater, probably around 150 productions altogether. But yeah, but you know, the involvement is like, you know, and some is bigger, other projects are smaller involvement. But then the other question you asked was about my favorite genre, right? Right?
Yeah, and your favorite one to work with.
To work with. Well, that's really difficult to answer as well, because I can talk about the 3 recent projects that I had. I was first shooting a horror flick last year that we went to shoot in New York, the outdoor scenes, and then we went to Porto Alegre to shoot all the indoor scenes. And that was a movie that was shot in English with an all-American cast. And it was a horror movie, so it had a lot of like fake blood and, you know, ripping the heart out and things like that. So that's like really fun, because you get to do things that you are so far from reality, you know, in a way. So that's really fun to shoot. But then right after that, I did a movie which is really what they would call like an auteur movie. It's really artsy, and it has a very specific language from 2 directors that were shooting together their first film, Tabata and Jonathan. And that was really beautiful, because it's a really artistic kind of a movie. It's a drama movie, so you really get deep into like the emotional life of the characters. And I love that. I love that so much, you know, really exploring like just the depths of the emotions of characters. And now I'm about to go shoot a movie in Foz do Iguaçu, which is called Vila Pérola. And Vila Pérola is really interesting to me, because I feel like it's the first film I'm going to shoot that I feel like it's 100% like Brazilian to the core. Like it talks about the struggles of the Brazilian people. So this movie specifically talks about moambeiros, or the people that smuggle products between Paraguay and to Brazil. And it deals with their relationships that develop around that, and the neighbors. And so I'm really excited about that too, because I do feel it's a new kind of a genre for my resume, you know, and I was really excited when I got it. It's going to be a fun part to shoot. So regarding the genre question, I don't think I have a favorite genre. I feel like I'm more into really original ideas. Like I love a movie that is able to present itself in a whole new light. And because, like, if you get horror films, if you get thrillers, they typically have a formula, right? Yeah. If they follow a very specific formula, because that sells really well. But when you break out of that, and when you create something new, and perhaps that is with mixing 2 genres together, you get something truly original. Like, so to me, a movie that did that really well was Parasite, 6 years ago, I think. Parasite, the South Korean movie. A Brazilian movie that does that really well to me is Durval Discos. I don't know if you guys know this. Durval Discos is amazing. You should watch it. It's so incredible what they do with it. And these are all movies that recently inspired a script that I was writing recently. And also Relatos Selvagens, which is a movie from Argentina. Triangle of Sadness also has this mixture of genres that I really love, and that I feel like is so powerful to be able to tell a story in a completely new light. So I think that answers, right?
Yeah. Sure.
How did your interest for movies begin? Oh, I think we already
You kind of answered.
I did already talk about that. Yeah, it kind of went through
Yeah.
my sister. And just to wrap up the story, so my sister was the one that really got me interested in cinema. She was the one that started it all, because she was a photographer, and she kind of wanted to get into movie making. I did do a short with her in New York City when she was studying there. But you know, cinema really is an art medium to the ones who are really patient and who are really determined, because you have to wait so long to be able to do a movie, and you depend on so many people. So many people, even though they love and they want to be filmmakers, they soon find out that, oh, because I have to, maybe wait 5 years to do a short film, to get the money to do a short film, and I have to deal with actors, and I have to deal with production team, and I have to deal with like art and light and this, they end up, saying, okay, this is not for me. And I feel like for my sister it was a little bit like that. She was more into like being able to work by herself more quickly, and she stayed with photography. Because I had the background in theater, I was able to really move into this whole cinema thing, I think, a little more easily, because I'm very used to working with big groups of people and people with a lot of opinions and, trying to find middle ground when you don't agree on something. So that's why I feel like I ended up going that route, and she ended up staying with the photography, which is something that she can do on her own, pretty much.
Okay, that's cool. What countries have you been to, and was it for your career or for tourism?
Well, so I've been very fortunate. I've been to many countries. I haven't traveled as much recently because now I'm a mom. When you're a mom, things change a lot. But I did live in Japan for 2 years modeling on and off. I went to Bali. I went to Morocco. I haven't been to I can never say that. Oceania.
Yeah.
I can never pronounce that one because they always call it Australia, but it's not just Australia, right? It's like New Zealand and all. I haven't been to that part of the world, but I've been to Asia, Europe, all over Europe, France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Germany, Holland. I went to Canada, United States, Mexico, Belize in Central America, all the Caribbean islands. I went to Curacao, here in South America, Brazil, Argentina, Bolivia, Paraguay. But there's still a lot of places I want to go to, but I have been very fortunate to travel a lot. And it was all mostly for tourism. I've never been to do a shoot someplace that I hadn't been to. I really love that part of it, but it hasn't happened to me yet. Like, I would love for them to call me tomorrow and say, hey, you have a movie to shoot in India, but that hasn't happened, unfortunately, yet.
Okay.
Is it difficult to direct a movie set? Do you write the scripts, or do you get them for someone else? Yeah,
someone else. It is very difficult because it's so overwhelming. Like, it's so many people that depend on you. I mean, if you really, obviously, you can go out nowadays with an iPhone and maybe a sound guy and an actor and shoot a movie and make it very simple, and it has its merit. But if you really go into like, oh, I want to make, even if it's a short film, a feature film even more so, but even if it's just a short film that has a lot of money that you can spend on, like, hiring professional actors and doing amazing sets and great lighting and great sound design, all of that requires a team of people, and this whole team of people depend on you, the director, for so many answers. So at one point, I remember the very first day that I was like behind the cameras directing something. I remember that very first day, I probably had like about 10 or 15 people that came to me for answers. They had questions, and that I had to give answers to. And sometimes you don't have the answer for something that they ask you, and it can be very overwhelming. And I remember thinking the very first morning I was working as a director, I'm like, okay, I cannot handle this. Like, this is way too much. And I remember I sat down to have my lunch, like, during the break, and I was literally freaking out inside. And then you go back and you have some food in your tummy and you're feeling a little better, and then you go like, okay, just deep breaths, one thing at a time. And it really helps to have a producer. Like I had a producer next to me, Gianna Moto, who I work with a lot. And Gianna was really great at coming to me with problems, but with also the solution for the problems. So she would never come to me and say, like, listen, one of the actors got COVID, which happened in my set. Like, the actor just got COVID, so we need to replace him. She wouldn't just come to me with, like, that. She would come, so the actor got COVID, but we have an alternative. You can hire this guy, and he's available, and he can come here right now. So that really helps, when you have a team that understands how much pressure the director has, and that they help you to get things flowing. Because in movie sets, things need to flow. It's all very expensive. The camera is very expensive. You cannot have an extra day if you don't get to shoot everything. So you need a really strong team next to you, and then you can get things going more easily.
Yeah.
What are some questions that your cast usually asks you when you direct films?
Well, mostly about intention.
Yeah.
And there's this thing that we talk a lot about in acting, the tone, the tone of the acting. Because when you get, words on a script, you don't know if it's is this supposed to be comical? Is this supposed to be more dramatic? And in this first script that I wrote, it could have been played either way. You could have made it more fun and throw it out a little more, or you could have made it more deep and so yeah, it's a lot about that. It's about fine-tuning what the tone of the movie is with the acting that they're bringing to you. And I remember I had this one rehearsal with Eliane Campelli, who is this amazing actress here in Curitiba, and she came with an idea for the scene. She's amazing, but she came with an idea that wasn't really what we needed for the movie. And I think that's the main goal of the director, is to really be able to bring everything together in that one path that makes the movie what they have in their head. She came with this idea that wasn't quite what I wanted. And, when I spoke to her, and then she quickly fixed everything. And when she was called to set, she was just amazing. She got everything exactly as I had thought, So it's really just a discussion about intentions and tone and the feel for the movie, really. And you asked about writing the scripts and if I write. So yeah, writing doesn't come very easily to me. I started playing with writing when I was maybe 40 years old, and I did write this first short film that I directed, Try Your Luck, which is Tem Sua Sorte in Portuguese. And I did write that one, but then when I went to do my second short, I had a friend, Juliana Sanson, who's also an amazing filmmaker here in Curitiba, and she had a short film that she basically trusted me with to direct. So this is a short film that I did with actress Guta Stresser. It's going to be coming out hopefully this year. We're going to have a premiere for it. So I do both. I try to write, but I also, because it doesn't come so easily, I'm also very open to directing other people's work if they are so kind to let me.
Okay. So you mentioned you worked as a model in Japan. Were you scared when you first got there, and how was your first photo shoot?
So I was not scared at all. I was all excitement. I was just so excited. I left home when I was 16 because of the modeling career. It took me to São Paulo. Obviously, my parents were freaking out a little bit about this, but eventually they trusted me, and they put me in a situation where I was well taken care of in São Paulo. And then that took me to Japan a year later. And I was just one of these kids that I just wanted to explore the world. So I was so excited to go out and see people and see cultures. I didn't have any of the thinking that I have nowadays of like, oh, okay, this is a really scary world. We need to be careful, especially with young girls, you know, we need to be so careful. So obviously, like if my kids came to me and said, like, hey mom, I want to go to Sao Paulo to do modeling, I'd be like, oh, wait, no, hang on, let's talk about this. Even though I did it. But I was also I knew that my parents had entrusted me with a lot. So I was very good. Like, I was a really good kid. Like, I was like, okay, I cannot let my parents down. You know, I'm not going to get involved with anything bad in here. So I did really good. I worked a lot. I made a lot of money, really young. And I was just so fascinated with the world, you know, and meeting people and trying to learn language. So there was no fear, you know. I'm sure I was around dangerous situations, but somehow I always say this, I have like an amazing guardian angel. Like it just always was always on my side and keeping me safe, thank God. Yeah.
Okay, can you tell us a bit about the time you spent in Japan, like where you lived
there?
Yeah. Oh, and you talked about the first. I don't remember my first photo shoot.
Oh.
But I remember. I really don't. But I remember this one interesting thing because I was getting they would give you a paper with like the information in English where you needed to go and how to get there and what like features to see around, because obviously not everyone can get around, even in English. You know, I spoke English at the time, but some models are there and they don't speak any English and they need to get around and find places in the city. So that's always interesting. So they give you kind of like a map and how to go about getting to where you need to go. But I did learn for a while there, I spoke a little bit of the Japanese, not spoken, I can't say I spoke it, but I did read the katakana, which is one of the alphabets they have. They have the kanji, the hiragana, and the katakana. And the katakana is the one that writes foreign names and foreign words. So if they want to write strawberry, they'll use katakana to write, oh, this is a strawberry yogurt, you know. So at one point I was really good at reading the katakana, and I would read strawberry, and I was like, oh, strawberry, okay, so this is strawberry flavored drink or something, you know. So that was really cool. I love being able to read that. I lost it, unfortunately, because I haven't kept that going. But there's a couple of interesting stories from Japan. Because it just, you know, it kind of like goes with the whole English talk that we're having here, because it's just funny. Like, I'm like a Brazilian speaking English there, and they're Japanese, you know, speaking English. So sometimes we have like interesting conversations. You know, it's like two people trying to understand each other in a third language. So I remember one time, I used to travel a lot between Tokyo and Osaka for work. I would take the bullet train. At the time, it was like the coolest thing. And I remember in Osaka one time, and this is on a parallel note, I really was a terrible eater when I was young. Like, I could not eat anything other than like cheeseburgers and hot dogs and french fries. That was horrible. So I spent my first 3 months in Japan eating McDonald's every single day. I swear to God, it was ridiculous. It was pathetic. Nowadays, I'm so much better. I eat really well nowadays. I love salads. I love different cuisines. But I was a McDonald's freak back then. So I remember I was in Osaka. I was in the hotel, and I really needed to find a McDonald's around to have a meal. So I went to a policeman in the middle of the street, and I'm like, okay, I know how to say where in Japanese, which is doko, and I know how to say McDonald's. So I'm like, doko, McDonald's. Doko, McDonald's. And he's like, he couldn't understand me. And I'm like, okay, so I need to say McDonald's in a Japanese way so he'll understand, right? So I'm like, okay, I do know how the language works now a little bit. So McDonald's, you wouldn't say McDonald's, you would say Makudonarudu, right? So because they always like put like an ew at the end of every consonant that's loose. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, so if I go doko Makudonarudu, and he's like, oh, And then he guided me to it. He's like, oh, okay, so you walk 2 blocks this way and then you turn right. I'm like, okay, got it, thank you. So that was fun. And then there's this other really cute story about when I went to the north of Japan, this place called Sapporo. It's in the north of Japan for a job. And I remember I got to the train station there and I saw this sign that they had, which to me was just the cutest thing because it was, this is like a different time. It's a faraway place. It's not like the capital of the state. So obviously they wanted to write something in the train station in English, but they didn't quite have the right meaning, right? So they probably just translated as they thought it was correct. They didn't double check it with the native. So what they meant to say was, please talk to a station employee if there's any trouble, right? That's what they wanted to say. But what was written was, please ask station employee for a trouble. Which means, if you would like a trouble, please ask a station employee. So that was really fun, and I remember reading that sign and being like, oh, this is so freaking cute, and I took a photo with that. Yeah. It was really fun. There are all these little stories of just English, and me also messing up my English at the time. I was also learning, and just their thing, and I got really good at asking at McDonald's for a cheeseburger, French fries, and 2 ketchups in Japanese. I got that down because I was asking for that every single day, twice a day.
Oh my Lord. Yeah. How many languages do you speak, and can you speak or teach us something that you find interesting, please?
Ooh.
If you want to.
Well, I do only speak Portuguese and English, really. Those are the only 2 languages I speak. And I think the reason for that is because I was my first language was English as a baby because I was born in Topeka, Kansas, of all places. And even though my parents spoke to me in Portuguese because they're Brazilian, and they spoke in the house in Portuguese, you always speak the language of where you're at, right? So I was speaking English to them I would listen to the Portuguese and I would reply in English. But then I moved to Brazil when I was 3, and when I moved to Brazil I completely lost the English and I was just in Portuguese mode for many, many years. Went back to doing English classes at Interamericano here in Curitiba, and I was a terrible student. I was horrible, just so pathetic. And then I went to the United States to study acting when I was 18. And when I was in the United States, I was trying to regain, possession of my English for real, in terms of fluidity and just flow and rhythm, because of the acting, because you want to be able to do parts that are not just Brazilian or foreigners, So I was really focused on being able to speak as much accentless as possible, which is almost impossible, really, for a foreigner. And I'm not I don't have that ease of speech that many actors do for accents. But so I was really focused on that. I was doing a lot of phonetic classes and speech classes and vocal coaches. So that was my main goal. And then when I came back to Brazil, my Portuguese was so poor. So then I started to work on my Portuguese. So I was always between okay, let me just polish these 2 languages. I would love to learn new languages. I'm always amazed at people that are polyglots and speak a lot of my kids, they study at Sion, so they speak French. And I work a lot with people who do sign language in the theaters, so I'm always amazed at sign language, and I always want to learn new things, but I don't quite have the time for that, so I'm just always here amazed at people that do speak many languages. Yeah.
Are you working with something right now? Any projects?
I'm finishing right now a play, a theater play. It's called Lembra-te de mim, Remember Me, which is a play based on Hamlet, the Shakespearean play. It kind of does a parallel between everything that happens in the play of Hamlet and what goes on today in our society. You know, all the wars and all the killing of women, feminicide, and destruction of the world. So it's kind of like a very deep and heavy play that deals with a lot of political issues that we need to face nowadays. I'm finishing that this weekend, so that we only have tonight, tomorrow, Saturday, and Sunday, and then that play is done, at least for this temporada that we have for this season. And then on Monday, I go to Foz do Iguaçu to start shooting Vila Pérola, which is that movie that I talked to you guys about, the smugglers. And that shoots during May in Foz do Iguaçu. So that's what I'm working at the moment.
Cool.
Yeah.
What was your favorite thing to work with, like, ever? What was your favorite thing that you ever worked with?
Ooh, that's tough.
There's a lot.
Yeah, there's so many amazing amazing projects. What I do know is that in like my 30-something career that I have as an actress, I have had maybe here and there, like every 4 or 5 years, one project that stands out in terms of like, oh, okay, this was a real big challenge for me, just in how much it required physically or vocally, or just in terms of like a gigantic role. So I have had projects throughout my career that really stand out to me. But the first one probably being The Clean House, which is a play that I did. I did 3 different productions of it. I did the first one in Washington, D.C. with Rebecca Teichman directing, which is an amazing Broadway director. And then I did one in Chicago at the Goodman Theater, which is an amazing theater in Chicago. And then I with Jessica Thebes. And then I did, years later, another production of it in Williamstown, Massachusetts, in 2017 with Rebecca Teichman directing as well, with a different cast. And that was like just this one perfect, amazing role that I had for my type, if you will. And then I also I remember Suave na Palm was another, Tender na Palm in English and Suave na Palm in Portuguese, which is another production that I did here in Curitiba. And it was just amazing how much it required from me as an actress physically, because we were literally doing gymnastics as we were doing the play, just me and a guy with tons of dialogue. And there were probably 15 pages where between me and this guy who I was doing the scene with, he would say one word and I would say another word, and then he would say one word and another word, and it just kept going like that for 15 pages.
Whoa.
So memorizing that was quite difficult. But so those challenges, and when you see that you have a challenge like that and you're able to overcome those challenges and get to it and accomplish the work, it's probably the greatest thing. And beyond that, the only other thing I can say, which I really love about my work, is the people that I work with, because I've worked with some amazing people, famous people that you go oh my God, but he's so down to earth, he's so cool. You can talk to this person like your neighbor, and I just love meeting people that could be, full of themselves and are not. It's just really refreshing. So I think that's what I love the most. Yeah.
That's good. And a question that is not here. What was your favorite job that you mentioned, that you were a designer and an actress and a director? What is your favorite thing?
My favorite of all of them? Oh my God! I don't know that I can pick. I don't know that I can pick a favorite one, but I'll say this. What will I say? Okay, so acting-wise and also set design-wise, it's nice when you have the option to choose something or not, to choose to do something or not do it. Because work can be so sparse here in Brazil for an artist, sometimes you just need to do the work because you need to have money, because you need to pay your bills, because you need to live. It's nice to be able to have a career that, because you're not only an actor or you're not only a set designer, but you also direct and you also write, that you're able to maybe say no to this one job here that you don't think fits you so well, artistically speaking. I love that. I because I also design sets, I'm able to say no to an acting job, or because I also act, I'm able to say no to a set design, or because I'm also directing, I can, explore that side of it. And I do feel like, as you get older, I do hope we get to see more movies with older people, and I do hope younger crowds can also appreciate movies with older stories in the future. But it's only natural that, like, as I get older, I'm going to get more involved with directing and writing, because I have a history now and a baggage that I carry with me of things that I want to put out into the world. So to me, it's very interesting to be able to finally understand what my voice is and what it is I want to put into the world as my signature piece, like that one first short film that I did. But I hope I never stop acting, and I hope I never stop doing set designs. I love them all. But I do see myself more and more directing and writing, hopefully, and having the patience to wait for those movies to be done because they take a long time. But that's really what I love the most.
What can you tell us about the language as a leadership of a career or choices in a career?
Well, we are in a interconnected world, as we all know. The more languages you speak, the better. Obviously, English being one of the main ones, English, and then Chinese and Spanish, being the main ones spoken, which will get you to be able to communicate with other people. But I think what I would like to end this interview with is just with the idea of, like, purpose. Purpose, to have a purpose in life, to have a propósito in life. I think that's, like, the most important thing. I feel like there are two kinds of people in the world. There are people that have a purpose, and there are people that kind of just flow with the world as it is, and it's neither one is right or wrong. But there are people that flow with the world, and life will take them wherever, life takes them. And there are people that have a goal in mind. And if you have that goal in mind, and you're really set on not letting anything derail you from that goal, and if you're patient, and if you're determined, and if you do your work every day, you put your work into whatever it is you want to accomplish, it's almost inevitable that one day you're going to get to where you want to go. So I think that's really cool. Like, if you really have a dream in your mind, just, like, set yourself up for that, I feel like people can accomplish anything. It's amazing. People are amazing. And they can do, as we know, amazing things on the good side of things and on the bad side of things. And I feel like if you have a purpose and you want to do something good, stick with it.
Okay, so today you came to our school, understood about a little bit of our days and our way of learning. What do you think would be good advice for us in life?
Oh, I feel like I just gave it to you guys. Yeah. It's really just to have, like, a purpose,
or a message for our future and opportunities.
For future opportunities.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really. I think it ties into what I just spoke. You have to be able to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Like, so if you have, like, a goal, a dream that seems really far-reaching, it's so difficult to get there. You just have to understand, and you need to do a little bit of the work every single day. Even if you don't feel like it, today I'm lazy, I don't feel like doing this, and it's so much easier to just sit here on the couch and watch TV and eat snacks and whatever. Understand that, like, even if you're do something poorly that day, it's still better than not doing it, you know? They kind of, they say that about working out too. Like if you're working out, you try to be consistent about working out so you stay healthy, especially here in the mind. We work our body to stay healthy up here, and I think that's like the biggest thing that we're learning these days. We don't always feel like working out, but if you work out every single day, and even if you don't feel like it, you just go and you just do a bad workout, it's still better than not doing any workout at all. So I think that is like a metaphor for anything in life, you know, any goal you might have. If you want to be a great piano player, practice piano every day. You need to practice every day, and eventually it's going to become second nature. And people will say that if you do anything, like if you're like trying to like play guitar and you're trying to like go from this one chord to another chord, that's really difficult. If you practice that for an hour and a half, nonstop, you'll eventually get to a place where you can get it done, you know? And it's gonna feel second nature. Like I drive today and I'm listening to music and I'm thinking about like my interview with you guys. I don't think about driving anymore. It's so easy. But when you first get into a car, it's really hard, right? So you just have to understand that like if you do the work every single day, you'll eventually get to it. To what you want. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming here.
Thank you guys.
It's really great to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. Congratulations on your English.
Thank you.
And on being proactive about, you know, doing this podcast. And thank you guys behind the camera so much. It's a pleasure.